Hey, we're live. How you doing, guys?
Hey guys, how are y'all
Yeah.
doing? Good evening. Give me a moment while I share this live feed on my Facebook. We're not as high tech as we want to be. Tonight we have a special program for y'all. We have the great Dr. Rey Gonzalez, and he is a candidate for Congressional District 34. And Congressional District 34 is a very, very long fajita strip of a district. It includes all, those of you that are watching, it includes all of Cameron County. It includes Mercedes, Wesco, Donna, Alamo. I'm doing it backwards. San Juan. You get far as well, right?
Negative. San Juan is our limit. And all those other cities you mentioned, it's only the southernmost portion of it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, pretty much the line is Old Business 83 is the line. Everything south is 34, north of it is 15. Then you get all of Willacy, all of Kennedy, all of Clayburgh. Jim Wells goes around Nueces, like half of San Patricio. And then you go like weirdly to B County, Gonzales, Goliad. Half of Gonzales.
That's right. So all of Goliad, all of DeWitt, and a little bit of Gonzales.
Up to the river of Guadalupe. Have they taught you how to say that river, Guadalupe?
They say Guadalupe.
But you want to say Guadalupe, right?
Yes, they do. Or Huizache. There's a little town in DeWitt County, Goliad County called Huizache. It's not Huizache here. Here it's Huizach. It's Huizach. Okay, all right.
Hey, you do what they got to do to get the votes, right? And okay, so we have Dr. Rey Gonzalez, we have Josh, and we have Manny. Josh and Manny wants to ask some questions. Maybe he'll be manning the questions. If you got a question for Dr. Rey, you want to ask it, don't blame me if your question doesn't get asked. Blame Manny. Write him the nasty emails, nasty notes. Don't blame me. It's not me. I promise you have no control over it. All I'm here is to moderate and ask questions that I have, and Josh is going to ask some questions too. The thing about this particular race, Dr. Rey, you're running against an incumbent, Filemon Vela. I, in all fairness, I don't really know the man. I think I've met him once in my life. I've had one phone conversation with him because I actually wrote a published article, a scholarly article on his dad. In all fairness, a good man. Judge Vela was a good man, but I never got a chance to interview him, which kind of upset me. But tell me about you, Dr. Rey, and why you're running against the guy that everybody says he's good people.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for letting me come on to your show. I have to push back from the very beginning because you described me as great. There's nothing great about me. I'm just your average guy. I wouldn't be running in politics if God hadn't called me to do what I'm doing. I was very comfortable in my practice of law, teaching Sunday school on Sundays, taking care of my parents. I recently got married. So my role as a husband, and even more recent, my role as a father, are plenty of things to keep me busy. And so the fact that I'm running has absolutely nothing to say about any greatness on my part. There is nothing to say. Has everything to say about God's greatness and his willingness to call the average Joe to come out and serve. So my race, as you mentioned, is a tough race because it is considered a Democrat safe race. But I'm running because it's very important that Nancy Pelosi not be the speaker come January. And for that to happen, to avoid her, the speaker's gavel, we have to flip a few seats and regain control in the House of Representatives. That's important for many reasons. For those of you who support our president and want to see him successful, even more successful in his second term, having a House of Representatives back in the control of Republicans means, at the very least, that he won't be bogged down with any more impeachments or fake hoax investigations. And so there are many reasons why the House needs to go back into Republican control. So that's the macro look. the macro reason I'm running. The micro reason I'm running is because of people like you and me that need better representation in DC. Philemon Vela is a good man. I've met him once. I met him in his office when I had an issue, and I can tell you that he at least gave me some time to express myself years ago. This is long before I decided I was going to run against him. I had no political ideations at the time. And so I say he's a good man because he's a Texan. I'm sure he loves God. I'm sure he loves his wife. I don't know if he's a father or not, but if he's a father, I'm sure he's a good father. And so I have nothing negative to say about him, except that he toes the party line for a party that he says he doesn't agree with. And so what I want to do is I want to relieve his pressure. I want to relieve him of the stress of having to toe a party line that he doesn't, at least he tells us in the Valley that he is not very comfortable in towing. For example, he tells us he's pro-life, and yet he goes to Washington and votes to fund Planned Parenthood. He says he's for the working man and votes not to make our tax cuts permanent. The act that created opportunity zones, he voted against that. And opportunity zones are a wonderful creation to spur local business or to bring businesses to areas of every state that need that shot in the arm. Why in the world would someone who loves their community vote against something so powerful? Why in the world would anyone who loves their community vote against denouncing the shutdown of the Border Patrol or defunding of police, as he did several months ago? I remember he spoke just before he took that vote trying to say, I love these people, but I'm going to vote this way for this other reason. Please don't take it bad why I'm going to vote. No, you vote. And if you feel like you're having to vote in a certain direction because party leadership, resign or switch parties. What I can promise the people of the 34th Congressional District is that I will be the same 6 years from now. And I mentioned 6 years because that's as long as I plan to serve in this capacity. I strongly believe that all congressmen should be subject to term limits. And sorry, I'm having some trouble here with.
No worries.
And to prove that how strongly I believe that, I have self-imposed term limits. I won't serve in this position more than 6 years, even if you beg me.
Yeah.
I think the idea of the founding fathers to have members of the community leave their careers, go serve for a time, and then come back to their careers. That's what I plan to do. So I see this as a way to help the community and to take some conservative values, like the values that most of us in the Valley hold near and dear to our hearts, to Washington.
Well, we'll get into some of those issues most definitely in this conversation, and that's what this is. It's an opportunity for you to converse with people that you might not necessarily hear on a daily basis or be able to reach out to. But for you to this is a service to our community. But one of the questions that I had for you is let's talk a little bit about Philemon, not because we want to talk negatively about him and not have it given an opportunity, but his migration. I think you hinted to that. His migration leftward. When he lived in Corpus before he ran for City 34 in 2012, he was a Republican. His wife was a Republican. His wife was an elected Republican. And I was very much involved in that year, in part because Rusty Falk, I was ready to support Rusty Falk for Congress that year. And he was a well-known family in Brownsville, ready to run for Congress. But Philemon, being in Corpus, had different plans. He wanted to have some sort of a Republican slate. My understanding was a Republican slate for judge for the 13th Court of Appeals. He wanted Rusty to go in there, and then Philemon was going to run for Congress, and he was going to run as a Republican. I distinctly remember having conversations with the late Frank Morris, who was the Republican county chair, expecting Filimon Vela to run as a Republican, and then he just decided to run as a Democrat for whatever reason. And this was even after, right around time when Rusty Falk passed away, unfortunately, very, very early I guess of some sort of just a short death. And so he had this idea of, I'm a Republican friendly person. I'm a moderate. I come from a good family. You should vote for me. And even Democrats were like, we don't want to vote for you. You're Republican. You're like stealing in our primary. And one of the things he did, running as a Democrat, was just barnstormed the district with money and names, and just did a good job in terms of that race, and went into a runoff and just wiped the floor with I think Denise Blanchard was who his runoff opponent, and went on to win the general election, because for all intents and purposes, CD 34 was made for a Democrat to win.
Yes.
CD 34 was made in part because Blake Farenthold surprisingly won in 2010, and he did not want to have the state legislature does a district to protect incumbents. And the way you protect it is not by increasing the number of Democrat potential voters. And CD 27, which we were part of here in Brownsville, you go northward, go around the coast, and you just include that and make that more Republican safe, go into Victoria, that area, in Wharton. And so CD 34 just became 60-40 essentially. That's what this seat is. What have you found? You've run before a few times. What have you found in your conversations with people in the northern half of the district, and how do they feel represented by this Republican turned liberal Democrat? And that's what he really is. Do they feel?
So just so you know, he was Democrat before he was Republican. He's Democrat again. So your story of his migration began at the halfway point. He was actually Democrat before he went in Corpus, right? So he went Democrat, Republican, and Democrat again.
He only became a Republican when his wife decided to run as a Republican for county court, county Court of Appeals, and Nueces County, which I lived in for many years, was turning red, and it was political necessity. He's a politician. He's not interested in belief system. Sorry to interrupt on that, but
yeah. So and I have long said that I would much rather lose as a Democrat than win as a Republican. Sorry. Yes, I would much rather lose as a Republican than win as a Democrat, because I owe it to the fact that I'm not a politician at heart. I'm very principled, and so I would much rather stand my ground. And I see many principled men unfortunately have to take the high road and are not very effective winning political seats, but they go home and they sleep well at night for those values and their principles. So getting to your question about how people in the North feel, every part north of Alice, I'd say really every part north of Beeville included, is solid conservative, and they cannot stand the idea that a Democrat congressman is representing them. They wouldn't feel so bad if he was the kind of congressman that many people think he is, in that he is, or that he wants to be portrayed as being this really a Republican in disguise. There are some people that are longtime friends of his that say that that's the reason they still support him, because he's really a Republican. Just don't tell anybody. His voting record doesn't show that.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So you're going to get that quiet support, and that's why we like him. But he comes from a good family. I saw in 2012.
Absolutely, there is no dispute about the honor his family deserves. My uncle, I never had the privilege of knowing Judge Vela, but all of my family say Judge Vela was such an honorable man. They don't have the same things, and not to demean our congressman, they don't have the same thing to say about our congressman. But many of them feel that the Judge Vela would be turning in his grave if they knew the way that his son has voted on
Yeah.
some very important issues
Yeah,
that were near his heart.
Yeah, he's very conservative as a jurist. I've done the research on him. I interviewed his wife, the late great Mayor Blanca Bella, and about him and who he is. But one thing that he did, what he's done as a candidate and even as an office holder, and why I want to go in that direction, and we'll talk about your issues, is one of the first people that Filemon hired to be on his campaign team in 2012 was a man by the name of David Fox. I don't know if you know who David Fox is.
No, I don't.
David, and by the way, I'm sporting my Westaco shirt because I'm originally from Westaco. Normally, I'd be wearing this shirt at a Westaco football game, but it's Friday night. We're not able to. But David Fox is from Westaco, and he was very active politically. And Filemon paid him thousands of dollars to work in 2012 to be a canvasser, a worker, and whatnot. David Fox then becomes a city commissioner and gets embroiled in this controversy where the federal government, federal prosecutors investigated a scandal in Westaco. And they arrested Mr. Fox, and they charged him with with lying to lying under oath. And he admitted, apparently, to the federal prosecutors, that he took thousands of dollars in bribes. And why does that matter? Well, that's one of the first types of people that Mr. Congressman Vela, candidate Vela at the time, hired for his staff. I'm not insinuating that Mr. Vela is somehow a criminal in any way, shape, or form, but that's the type of character that he wanted on his staff. And it troubles me because we have this aura of corruption in the Valley, even in South Texas. And so, these are weird things that happen. And so what are you as a candidate seeing in terms of corruption? Because we've had corruption in Westaco, a part of CD34. We've had, alleged corruption in Brownsville, part of CD34. What are your thoughts on corruption?
So my thoughts are that it is so well known and for a long time known, and yet very hush hush, and that enough people in the different communities are saying, okay, the only way this is going to change is if I run. I've often talked to folks and say, listen, if you don't like it, you just talk to me for 3 whole minutes about the problem in your community. And when you were telling me, you told me with such fire in your belly, why don't you run? Do something about it. And then that's when most people say, oh, well, my family, my work, and I've got all these things going. And then I tell them, all right, man, well, then you know what? Then at least get behind the person who is willing to run. So there's a great example in Mercedes. There's a gentleman by the name of Israel Coronado that I'd love for you to know and get a hold of. Israel Coronado is a nurse anesthetist. He's an activist, and he decided that enough was enough. He's running for mayor. That kind of story is happening across the Valley. People saying enough is enough. Hey, this corruption's not going to end unless someone cleans house. And he's got, of course, every time you run for office, you're volunteering to put a target on your back. I have only recently started to feel that, even though I've been running for 5 years. But Israel is feeling it in Mercedes because of his intentions. And so we are supporting men and women like Israel Coronado, who have, in his case, at a very local level, wanted a clean house. He asks the questions. I ran into Senator Eddie Lucio last week sometime at the Oyster Bar in Brownsville, as a matter of fact.
Good. Which one? We can plug him?
The one by Vermilion.
Okay.
I forgot. I always forget there's one in downtown. I never go to that one. I've been to it once. And he mentions this whole thing about, who was it? It's a policy issue, not so much a corruption issue. A policy issue about letting men into little girls' restrooms. He brought that up, and I said, "Well, do you know that Filemon Vela is in favor?" He pulled me over and he says, "Keep them accountable. Keep them accountable."
Yeah,
that's what it comes down to. The general, the big answer to your question is, how do you deal with this? Keep them accountable. They're supposed to be serving us.
And if anybody's interested in where I'm getting my numbers, you can just go look at the Federal Elections Commission website. Has all of Filemon Vela's campaign finance reports going back up to 2012. You want to challenge me that, who is this person? Look at it yourself. You can find it yourself. And one of the people that when you do that, you'll find, and here in Brownsville in particular, we have blogs. People do not like the blog because you're going to get attacked if you're not the right person. But there's one particular blogger who Filemon Vela has consistently paid $500 pretty much every single year on campaign finance reports, either calling him an advertising production, calling him a canvasser, calling him a field service representative. If you look at those campaign finance reports, and he's paying this blogger, and this blogger is notorious for spreading vicious things about people, vicious images. We were talking with Erasmo Castro on Monday. This blogger has posted nasty pornographic images of men and women, and allegedly, fantasizing about women being raped and writing these things, horrible, nasty things. And you have Filemon Vela, who consistently pays this man advertising dollars, and you're a conservative. I think the district primarily is conservative. There's a reason why Senator Ida Lucio was able to win his runoff on the Democratic primary, because they're conservatives. What do you think about your opponent, the incumbent, paying this porn blogger, as some of us call him, money, donations from people who are donating to his campaign? I'm pretty sure those donors don't know that Filemon Vela is paying this man of smut, this blogger of smut. What are your thoughts on that?
Let me tell you that as someone who's running for a high office, sometimes you don't know where the money's going directly because you've got people to do that for you. But I don't, after people find out about this, and I just don't know how long people have known about this, I doubt this young man, whoever this gentleman is.
Oh, no, it's not a young man. He's 60-something years old.
Yeah, I doubt this person will continue with the race. I don't believe Filemon Vela wants to associate himself with. I'm sure, knowing the stock that he comes from, I'm sure he'll let him go at some point, and then focus on the issues of the people. The people cannot afford to have their congressman distracted by things that are so easily removable from the story, right? So that's, I guess that'd be my only answer. But what I can tell them is that they won't have anyone like that. I'll never have anyone like that on my team. They'll never be able to do some opposition research to find anything like that on me.
He pays hundreds of dollars every year to this man to advertise, and he'll constantly, and he'll trash you because you're running against Vela, and Filemon has no problems advertising on this man's blog. And anybody, if you have a blog and you want to make money all you want to, but when you advertise on that, you're okay with associating yourself with these pornographic, misogynistic images. Filemon Vela wants to portray himself to be this semi-woke person in with the good crowd, and some of the nasty stuff that this man writes about not just women, about other office holders, other candidates is disturbing, and he has no problem. And if you don't believe me, just look at his campaign finance reports, and you will see this man on his campaign finance reports at the Federal Elections Department. And with that, I'm going to let Josh and Manny, if they want to ask a question. I think they're interested. Josh?
Yeah, Dr. Rey, what
Hey, Josh,
is...
good evening.
Good evening, sir. How are you? What is one or two things that if you get elected that you would like to focus on that you feel the district needs? Maybe such as economic development or more funding for education purposes. What do you feel the district has been lacking from the current congressman that you hope to provide?
So one very basic thing, not even a policy thing, is just communicating with your people. For crying out loud, when is the last time you actually had a town hall with your congressman? There's some people up in the north that don't know what their congressman looks like, don't know who he is. And so one of the changes that I hope I can institute in the 6 years I hope to that I hope to serve is a regular town hall meetings that are open mic, that are not. I think the last town hall meeting Vela had was very limited to a particular subject. I'm sure the questions were already prepared, and that he knew exactly how he was going to answer, just to save face. the congressman needs to be a person of the people and face the people. And you're going to be heckled, fine, be heckled. You're the congressman. Go out there and let the people see you and look into your eyes. And so what I hope is that at the end of my time as your congressman, that even those that were opposed to Rey Gonzalez will say, with the next congressman, man, I never really liked Rey Gonzalez, but I tell you one thing, I really like that he always came back and talked to us. I really like this about him. I really like the fact that he started this. He got us used. He spoiled us with town hall meetings, and so now we're going to require that of the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. That's one very basic thing that I think every citizen should have the right to go see their congressman. I have an open door. Veterans are super high on my priority list. I hope to open one of my district offices for Veterans Affairs. It'll be a veterans-focused office. I hope to have one here in Harlingen that will be very close to the VA, so that the folks at the VA can say, you know what, that's an issue for the congressman. Walk across the street. That office is designated for veterans issues. Of course, anyone can go to any of the district's offices, but that one will be specialized for veterans. The economy is number one on everyone's mind, even before the pandemic hit. It's amazing how some of the issues differ in different parts of the district, but the economy is number one for everybody, and it's different industries depending on where you are in the district. In the valley, our farmers need help. I think it's very smart that our congressman is on the ag committee. It's the congressman for South Texas needs to be on the ag committee, absolutely, because the farmers need representation there. In the north, not so much ag; it's more oil. When the oil prices went so low that it wasn't in any oil company's benefit to keep drilling, those industries went dry, and so we need to hammer that hard in Congress. Let's get things going. Let's get the folks that rely on these industries back to work. That's what they're expecting us to do.
One of the big issues for you has always been the issue of life, and we know that you're a social conservative, generally speaking. Do you find as a candidate that these issues outside of the conservative circles, outside of the Republican circles in the district, has it played well? Has it encouraged or people just turn away from you because you're so unabashedly conservative when it comes to life?
That's absolutely a perfect description of me on those issues. I have been in situations where folks say, hey, this is probably not the kind of crowd that wants to hear. I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not going to adjust my message based on my crowd. That is the reason so many people have lost faith in our politicians. Say what you mean and do what you say. And so my feeling has been that even those that oppose or don't feel exactly like me don't have a problem with me saying it and expressing it because I'm consistent. And then, of course, there's the conservative Christians, of which I count myself in that group, that the evangelical vote has been so powerful in the last in the last few elections, where the evangelical vote seemed to have been almost asleep. They're starting to wake up. They're starting to say, hey, we need to take back our country. And so that message always resonates very loudly there. It hasn't turned people away. They say, okay, I'm glad you feel that way, but how do you feel on this other issue? I'm glad you feel that way. I tell folks, I'm pro-life. I'm also pro-Second Amendment. Hey, I'm pro-traditional marriage. I'm also pro-low taxes. Hey, I want you to rise when we are at the flag, but I want that wall built. And so we can talk about the social issues and the other issue and the rest of the issues as well. There are a few people that mentioning the social issues and my unapologetic position on those issues, that it bothers them. They roll their eyes and say, "Oh, there he goes again." And I can talk 20 minutes about all these other issues, but the minute I mention that I am pro-life, they'll roll their eyes and say, "Okay, there he goes again." But it's not stopping me. I'm still going to talk about it. I'm still going to say, because they ought to know. They ought to know their congressman well enough that they can predict how he's going to vote on a particular bill. It's impossible for your congressman to come back to the district for every single bill and to ask, take a poll. Hey, folks, I'm here to represent you. How should I vote for this? How should I vote for that? No, it's impractical being so far away. It's even congressmen that live real close to Washington, represent their districts close to Washington, don't get to do that. It's just impractical. So what you have to do is get a good feel for your congressman. Ask yourself, who between these two thinks more like me? I believe I represent the values of most people in the 34th Congressional District much better than Philemon Bella. Or at the very least, I am not compromised to vote in a way that is opposite my values, which I hope is what's happening in Bella's case when he votes against pro-life issues, for example. I hope that it's not because he really feels that way. I hope that it's because he's being pressured to do it. And I want to, by winning this race, I want to relieve that pressure.
There have been a lot of there's 11 counties in the district?
3 of them are partials, but yes, sir, 11 counties.
Are you getting a lot of Republicans are notorious for being divided after a primary and not necessarily coming back together? Are you getting a lot of support from all the county chairs within your district?
All but one. Our own county chair in Cameron County has not been very supportive, but we continue to pray for her, and she's a very talented, very intelligent young lady, and I hope to earn her support very soon. Every other county chair has been absolutely amazing. Model chairs. Shout out to Paul Guidry up in DeWitt County, Patty Johnson in B County, the former Ken Belter in Goliad. He lives in San Antonio. Myra Sue Schultz, it took his place in Goliad County.
I know him well. I know every one of those people. I know them.
Brandon Barrera was an amazing county chair in Clayburgh. We've got amazing county chairs now, and they're all very supportive. Their people are supportive. They're asking me to, just today, several emails, several text messages saying, "Hey, we're having this meet and greet. Can you be here? I need some signs. Bring some signs." And it's always a shot in the arm to go up to those districts and meet people that are supportive. They love their country. They're just so patriotic. I would advise anyone who's running for public office as a conservative in South Texas, who may feel discouraged from time to time, to go to the rest of the district and be encouraged, because those folks are always optimistic. And I'm a glass half full kind of guy to begin with. I'm the most cheerful underdog candidate you'll ever meet. So these are good times to be running. These are good times to be serving. And I believe that if God is going to take the glory for all of this, and he knows that's going to be the end case, and he's going to do, you're going to do well.
Yeah, Mary has a good comment. We need a small business committee that can meet quarterly with our congressman to help spur more economical growth, help and more funding. You want to be that small business congressman. Yes. What are your small business?
So we have been decimated with the shutdown orders during the past couple of months. I think some of those were very much reactionary. And because we didn't know anything about the novel coronavirus, that is the new coronavirus, many of us didn't know how much to push back on those lockdowns, and so we just took it. But wow, how they have hurt our businesses! I talked to Brandy Bunton over at South Padre, whose family owns a nice restaurant. They're saying we could not possibly survive another shutdown. We couldn't possibly survive another lockdown, and so we plan to civilly disobey. And he's not the only one that has said that. If the order for another lockdown were to come down, and so there is, if any time we've needed our congressman to show some leadership for small businesses, it's now. We need a strong voice, so someone to push back against some very draconian lockdown measures that have come from some of our county officials. Again,
Yeah.
I don't feel like Eddie Trevino is a bad man. He's not trying to hurt anyone. He's actually trying to help us. The problem is his approach has been very draconian, and I'm going to just shut the whole thing down. Let's not have another infected person. And at the same time, we've seen all these small businesses collapse one after the other. Some of them can survive, others won't be able to come back. And so I agree with your viewer, Mary, I think was her name, that the congressman needs to show some leadership and come out here and be willing to be heckled. For crying out loud, you're the congressman. You're going to get heckled. Come out. Let's have a discussion. Hear the people. Sometimes you're gonna be heckled just to get their frustration out. Take it. Go ahead, take it. Let them go home thinking, I sure gave him my earful, didn't I? But they felt better. So that's my approach. From a policy perspective, we have to do absolutely everything we can to support small businesses. The president has done a lot of wonderful things, removing regulation that was choking small businesses. We need to push this opportunity zones that we talked about earlier to increase the number of small businesses, and have your congressman go out and say, hey, I'm from Texas, the greatest state in the country. And I happen to be from South Texas, the greatest region in the greatest state of the country. Why not come do business here? I heard the president say something like that yesterday when he was talking to Prime Minister Abe from Japan. He said that he met Abe at a conference or something, and he told Abe, hey, brother, why don't you bring some of your businesses over here? And then Abe said, oh, I can't do that. We respect the free enterprise system. And the very next day, 5 companies were announcing their move to the United States. Mm-hmm. So our leaders have some power. Go out there and bring them in. If I have to go talk to Abe in Japan to bring a car company to South Texas, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. That's the role of the congressman.
Right. Well, right now I'm going to do my favorite part of every show we do is the rapid fire. I hope you're ready. It is the 2-minute rapid fire questions sponsored by the Second Amendment. What these are just random questions made for you, Dr. Rey. Answer them quickly. You want to get through as many as you can. And you get no prize if you win. And you also get nothing if you lose. So just have fun with them, okay?
These are all from Roman Rey, so you can blame him.
Blame me for all.
Dale, guys.
All right. Ready, Manny? You got the 2-minute clock? All right. Red or blue? Red or blue?
Red.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was expecting more.
No, just red or blue. These are just short things. Rapid.
Okay. Word association, I guess.
There you go. Favorite Republican county chair in CD 34?
Wow. You're making me choose between Paul Guidry and Patty Johnson. I'm going to say Paul Guidry.
There you go, Paul. It's okay. We like it. Favorite socialist, Bernie Sanders or AOC?
Oh, come on. AOC wears lipstick better.
There you go. Favorite KURV talk radio host, Sergio Sanchez or Zach Cantu?
Sergio.
Yeah, it's okay. Mine too. So is Zach. You see, if you're listening, Zach, and I know you probably are, you're hiding in there.
Zach, God bless you, brother. Love you.
He picked you, Sergio. Favorite Democrat in Cameron County or the Valley, any Democrat?
Senator Eddie Lucio.
Yeah, good choice. Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Oh, I no idea. I've never listened. Honestly, I've never listened to either.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. All right. Well, And I did not know that. Now I know it. Next time you do a rapid fire, I'll give you a different set of things.
Yeah.
Best barbecue joint in CD34.
Híjole. So I'm partial to San Benito, the Longhorn.
Okay.
San Benito's my hometown, and they've got amazing barbecue, and their beans are amazing. Their banana pudding's amazing. So San Benito takes it.
There you go. All right. Texas Longhorns or Texas A&M Aggies? Football.
Sorry, Baylor Bears, sick 'em Bears.
Oh, the Baylor Bears. Okay, good. All right. Either way, take a third choice. Best tacos, Brownsville or Austin?
Brownsville.
Brownsville. All right, cool. And are we at 2 minutes? Where are we? I cannot. There you go. You made it. Congratulations. You succeeded. And time's up. There you go. Good job. These are your rapid fire questions. They're meant to be fun. Next time you come on, they'll be completely different.
Okay.
No Zach Cantu question.
I forgot the Zach Cantu question. Sorry. Overtime. The Zach Cantu sponsored question. We asked this of everybody. Cake or pie?
Does cobbler count as pie?
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
We're gonna have to ask that. I wouldn't, but it's okay. We'll ask that. You know what? If Zach comes on, what? No Beatles or Stones. He lost my. Oh, Richard, come on. I know, right? I know. I mean, what do you want me to do? Ask for anything but fun. Wow. Why? Why was it painful?
Venecio. ¿Qué pasó, Venecio?
Some of these are fun. Trust me. I've had some. At least I didn't ask who your favorite uncle was. Anyway. I got some more questions for you other than the rapid fire questions. When you go to Washington, you are going to be a freshman congressman if you're elected. It's very difficult for you to get things done in Washington being a freshman congressman. But you still need to provide bills. Is there a particular bill that you're passionate about or you even thought of that you want to go and this is what I want to pass and I want to support and I want to make sure that gets done, whether it's your bill or a bill that's laying around in Congress and just hasn't been passed and you want that.
It's colloquially known as the single issue bill. It's the bill that would require all bills. Actually, it's an amendment to the Constitution, requires all bills to be single issue. And what it does is it prevents last minute pork to be spent to be inserted. And so the issue for many congressmen is that, oh man, I was supporting it all the way to the very end, but it was poisoned. It was poisoned by this issue or by that issue. And because of this, I wasn't able to support it. And so one thing that I think would clarify the positions of many people who, many of the congressmen would be, and senators, would be, how did you support this very clean bill? Now you can't blame it on it having been poisoned. And so a single issue per bill, and that no one else can add their sweetheart amendment at the last minute. Ask yourself, who would be against that? Who would oppose going to single issue bill? Only those that are benefiting from last minute amendments. And so a vote against such an amendment would really reveal the intentions of many of the folks that are in DC.
The the balanced budget amendment has been something that's been valued. Do you support the balanced budget amendment?
I do.
I assume you would, but just beyond that safe side. The district is very different. The northern half is more smaller towns. You have Eagle Fort Shell, but you still have to be supportive of energy. What is your position on fracking? What's your position on the Eagle Fort Shell? How can you make that be more successful in Texas for jobs?
So I'm in favor of fracking. I'm in favor of natural resources God has given us. Let's go out and get them. Let's do it safely. Let's spend some of that money on research as far as making the extraction safe. But at no time will you hear me say, let's kill jobs, which is, I think, the result of some of these folks that, for their intentions are good. They're not trying to kill jobs, but they're willing to kill jobs to save the environment. I want to do both. I want to save the environment, but I want to which is the future, but I also want to provide for the present, and not ever turn to a constituent and say, to save this particular species 20 years down the road, now you're going to have to switch jobs at the age of 50. Go get yourself another career.
You're one of the candidates that may or may not benefit from not having La Palanca anymore, not having the straight ticket voting, that has poisoned so many down ballot candidates who, they're Republican and they're getting punished. We had one Republican locally got upset. Oh, it's because I lost because of Ted Cruz, which is true. You lost because of you. How do you feel about being able to get those votes? Because the district is 60-40. Cameron County is the seat. You almost have to get if you were to get 45% of the vote in Cameron County, you might and maybe 35% of Hidalgo County, you'd probably be able to win this seat. That's how you have to win, because you're so overwhelmingly 80-20 in some of these smaller counties.
Right.
And Kingsville is becoming more red. Jim Wells is becoming more red. All these counties are becoming more red. So what do you need to do as a candidate? Do you feel that in order to get those people to either don't vote in your race in the Valley or get them to vote for you? What do you feel you have to do?
So first, let me just take a break here and say, Roman, I'm pretty impressed with your knowledge of the district.
Thank you.
I really am. There are some folks that have been in this business for a long time that don't have the pulse. You seem to really know how the districts are going. Many of the folks that I've had a chance to get to know. And so I'm very impressed with that. Thank you for being interested in the district enough to want to get to know that. You're absolutely right. If I can break even in Cameron County, I won. The rest of the district will carry us over. So, and it's not just convincing Democrats to walk away from a party that is no longer their Democrat Party. It is now the Socialist Democrat Party of America. That has been successful. We're seeing a lot of walkaways, these amazing Trump rallies that are happening on the weekends that Josh can tell us more about. Are seeing many Republicans, many conservatives that are not ever involved in the Republican Party. You never see them all year round. They don't know the name. They don't know what a county chair is. They don't know what a precinct chair is. All they know is that they're come election time, they're voting Republican. These are the conservatives that are coming out, possibly never even voted in the past because they figured, well, why even bother? I live in the Valley. They're voting. This time they're voting. They're bringing their tios. They're bringing their tias to come out and vote. My brother-in-law's father called him one day and told him, Mario, I need you to be at your house today at 2:00. What's wrong, Dad? Are you okay? Is Mom okay? Just be at your house today at 2:00. My goodness, my poor brother-in-law was losing it. He couldn't wait for it to be 2:00. He got there. Dad, okay, tell me what's wrong. Are you okay? Is Mom all right? No. I just want you to know that I have never voted for a Republican in my life. I'm voting for Rey Gonzalez. and Mario was like, okay, that's it. That's what you stressed me out for. But that is a big deal, man. For a Democrat who has been loyal to his party for all these years to decide they're gonna vote for somebody else, that is a big deal. And so that step, the people that are on the edge, just waiting to take that one step over, I think are taking it this time. Thanks to AOC, thanks to Nancy Pelosi, thanks to Maxine Waters, and thanks to Lemon Vela.
Yeah. The what troubles me, and I don't want to bash certain people in the Republican Party in Cameron County, and we'll trust me, we'll be doing that this weekend, right, Josh? We're Sunday night is going to be special Republican night, and it's going to be a little bit of a come to Jesus moment for some of these Republicans that don't want to support you for whatever reason. The problem that we have is a crab mentality in the Republican Party, where they see a man like yourself getting ahead, being that person that's willing to run. I mean, you ran a race in a primary against a no-name white last name guy. And I can tell you, I've been involved in Republican Party politics and in South Texas politics. I remember in 2006, a gentleman by the name of Victor Carrillo, who was a rising star statewide in the Republican Party, running for state railroad commissioner. A good man, lost to a no-name white guy with a white last name, and so for you to be able to win against a no-name white guy, and this isn't a racist thing. It really isn't. It has nothing to do. It's just who you feel comfortable with. It just has happened, whether even at the Democrat side. You saw that in the Beto campaign 2 years ago, where you had no-name Hispanic name beating Robert Francis O'Rourke in the primary in Hidalgo County, in their primary. So it happens in both sides. So don't even think it's racist. But you were able to win. And that to me showed me a lot about your character and your ability to get support in the North. And unfortunately, you have people here locally that just don't want to give you a chance, or they're angry, or they're jealous, or they have this, again, crab mentality, and you're a half glass full, not glass empty kind of guy. And I want to commend you for doing that. So you're fighting, not, as a Republican, you're going to get 35% of the vote in Cameron County. You start. Unfortunately, you're going to get some of those Republicans that, Philemon really is a Republican, so I'm going to vote for him. I like his family. Or you're going to get those Republicans that are alleged Republicans who are just angry at you for whatever reason. So now you have to fight even harder to get those Democrats. So to hear those kinds of stories is happening. And with coronavirus, a little bit tougher. So how do you feel your campaign is going where you're having a fight on two freaking fronts? And it's because you have Republicans who don't want to unite around your candidacy for whatever reason. What are your thoughts on sort of that and sort of your campaign going forward under coronavirus?
So it doesn't change what we're doing. We're still fighting for every single vote. We're still showing up to all the rallies. We're all saying there's no reason why you should vote for Donald Trump and not vote for Rey Gonzalez. If you want Donald Trump to be successful in his second term, we need the House, and to get the House, we need to flip this seat. And I make myself available really to just about anybody. I'll go on anybody's show, even if I know I want to take some hits. That's the kind of congressman you got to have. Just go on, take your hits, and stand up for yourself. People will say some things that are inaccurate or incomplete, and it's our jobs to complete the story. But it doesn't really change what I'm doing. I'm still meeting people face to face. There's a lady who met me, I forget where it was, at some event here in the Valley, because she told me she saw my poster in Harlingen. Oh, I remember. I was at the market days in Harlingen, Jackson Street. And she said, just stand there. Let me look into your eyes, because there's something that I get from you when I look at your picture on the billboard or on the signs, and I want to know if I get the same thing from you when I look into your physical eyes, which is a really weird position to be in, right? You're just standing there, not talking. You just want to stand. Fine. So she's looking in my eyes, and I say, okay, well, now go look at my opponent's eyes. And really, people want to look into your eyes. They want to look into your face. They want to know if there's a personality behind all of that. They want to hold your hand, even in this COVID time. They'll fist bump you or elbow you, but there needs to be a connection. Why? Because this is the person that you're sending to Washington to work for you, to vote for you. It's like saying, I wish I could go to Washington, but I can't go, so I'm going to send you, and just do what I would do. Well, that's a big task. And for people to want to send someone like that, they got to get to know them. So it doesn't change. It doesn't change what we're doing. Negativity is part and parcel. Being criticized is part and parcel. We stand on the promise that no weapon formed against us will prosper. And we are doing this truly because of a calling. And so I often, I'm sorry to sound so preachy, but it wasn't the stone that killed Goliath. It wasn't the strength with which David flung that sling. It was the power of God. But at the very least, David had to show up. At the very least. So what I'm doing is I'm showing up, and I'm showing up hard, because I'm going to all these little cities, and I'm getting such amazing support. I visited 6 cities in 2 days, a couple of days ago. So people want to see their candidate, and I think that's what we're doing. We're happy, and we're glad to be on shows like yours.
There's a lot of questions, that we can get to, and this is sort of an introduction, guys. And so I think we're going to have you on maybe in a week or two again.
Sure.
And get questions and questions that people really want to ask, because it's a Friday night. People may not watch it live right now, but we get a lot of views after the fact. We just really do. And whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook. So,
by the way, do you know a gentleman out of San Benito named Raul Castillo? Does that name ring a bell?
No,
He's got a similar show. It's called Hell's Tavern. Anyway, very smart young man. You should. I'm sure he'd be willing to come on. Talk.
We'll have anybody come on. I think we're working on Manny currently working on some Kingsville candidates to come on as well. We have next week on Wednesday, my friend, I know her as she's Debbie D'Souza.
Oh yeah.
She's going to come on, and we're going to talk about Harlingen, about her new movie with Jim Caviezel. We're going to talk about Venezuela, her history.
Fantastic.
Yeah, she's a wonderful woman. We also have Janie Lopez is coming on next Thursday. She's a candidate for school board in San Benito. We're working on, I think I had a missed call during the show from Judge Fonseca's campaign guru.
Fantastic young man, yes.
Good. This is open to everybody, Republican or Democrat, doesn't matter. You're going to get the same fair treatment from me, because my job is to ask you tough questions, but not questions that you're going to get torn down from. Because you are doing it as a service. This is not one of these places that we're just going to say negative things about you and attack you. Why do you believe this? No, that's not what this is. I don't believe that does a service. But on Sunday, as I said, we're going to have a group of Republican conservatives from Hidalgo County and Cameron County and throughout Senatorial District 27. We will be discussing a lot of what happened at the state convention in SD 27. So
that's gonna be a fun conversation.
That's gonna be a great conversation, and
popcorn ready.
And it will. And the thing is that there's certain Republicans in our community that really need to understand they need to stop. And this isn't about you, Dr. Ray. This is about in general being accusatory of certain individuals without naming names and saying things that are just unbecoming. If you want the Republican Party to grow or the conservative movement to grow, trashing the other people is not going to do it. But if you want to play this game, there's no rules for this, Manny. It's no hard bar, Brandy. You will be on that show. If you want to play this game of doing innuendo and claiming that certain things are being done improperly or illegally or whatever, we got some stuff on you, sweetheart. Okay, and you know who? And I'm looking right at you, lady. I know who you are. You need to realize you have $16,000 that you owe the citizens of Cameron County, and we know it. We know it. You owe $16,000. I'm not going to name your name, but we are going to talk about that. So you're going to throw stones at people like my friend Josh or my friend like Dr. Ray or any other people. We're going to have fun. We're going to have a good time. I'm going to be like a little Erasmo Castro, and we're going to talk about what happened at the state convention, and we're going to ask questions. And we're going to make sure that people at the state party realize who you are and what you represent, because you do not represent conservatives. You represent other people. Anyway, that's just my little preview. But Dr. A, I appreciate you coming. I'm going to give you the Kim Wyatt question. Kim Wyatt is a dear friend of mine. She is the former news director at Channel 4, and she believes in this question wholeheartedly. Is there a question or a topic that you feel so strongly about? Hey, Orlando. I hope to have you, Orlando, on Sunday night. Be ready. There's no need to watch the Cowboy game. The real firework is going to be on the show on Sunday night. Is there any topic or question that I did not ask that you want to talk about right now, Dr. Ray? And you have the floor.
I was asked in San Benito once, if I talk to somebody, you could talk to them about one topic, what would it be? And I had to think about it for a little bit, because it cannot be a topic that from the very beginning is so partisan that they're going to just turn around and leave you talking. You want to talk to them about a topic that at least engages them for at least 30 seconds, gets them to think. And as I thought about what the topic would be, I decided it would be personal responsibility. if we can have that conversation, I hope parents are having it with their children. I hope Sunday school teachers are having it with their students, ministers, bosses with their employees. Personal responsibility. It means more than just making your bed in the morning. It really means not relying on others to fix your problems. It means taking stock of what God has given you so that you can serve others. And I think it also means to know who you're flying with. I heard a long time ago that, hey, eagles fly with eagles. Don't worry about having to fly with the sparrows that are way down on the surface. Eagles fly with eagles. And so there may be a lot of commotion happening. Take heart, Roman, Josh, Manny, and all the other ones. Just take heart that eagles fly with eagles, and you are among them. If every now and then you've got to stoop to go get yourself a nice meal, then come right back up. But
we will, Dr. Ray.
Responsibility is important. So, the service that you're providing, like I've told Israel Coronado in Mercedes, Raul Castillo in San Benito. There's another gentleman, I forget his name. I'm sorry that I'm forgetting his name. He's got another blog there in Brownsville. I was on his show as well. You're providing a very important service. People in the Valley need to know this. And these are people that otherwise would never have a chance to talk to me. Maybe they just are so still under a self-imposed lockdown from the quarantine that they don't want to leave home. And they otherwise would never have a chance to talk to me or ask me a question. But you're providing a beautiful service, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. We will definitely have you on in a week or two.
Yes, sir.
Communication when you're ready to come back on.
Yes,
Josh has an announcement for tomorrow's. Josh is with the Cameron County Conservatives Facebook page. You want to let some people know about tomorrow's awesome event that you're doing.
Yes, sir. 10:30, they're going to have the Trump train leave from the southeast parking lot of Bass Pro here in Harlingen. It's going to travel to Rio Hondo. And then once it gets to Rio Hondo, we're going to have a little get-together where the candidates that show up can speak. And then we're going to just have some fellowship time, doing some flag waving and showing support for our country and our president there in Rio Hondo. We're going to be meeting at the Bridge First Baptist Church at 400 Bristol Avenue in Rio Hondo. If you don't want to do the Trump train and you just want to go straight to Rio Hondo, we're going to be there at 11:30. But if you want to do the Trump train to Rio Hondo, be at the Bass Hall Southeast parking lot at 10:30. Okay,
10:30. Sorry about that. I for some reason I thought it was at 11:30 that you all were leaving from Harlingen, but I guess not. You all moved.
No, the Trump train's leaving from 10:30 to be in Rio Hondo around 11:30ish.
Awesome. Cool beans. Well, those of you who want to make it, is there going to be one happening in Brownsville on Sunday? Do you by any chance know?
I don't know off the top of my head. Usually the ones that occur on Sunday are done by the Brownsville Conservatives. Wow. And so you can go check out their Facebook page and find out.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I thank you, Josh, for the information on the Trump train. I'm sure it'll be as big as last week. Where can we purchase the flags for the Trump train?
If you go to Cameron County Conservatives and ask to become a member, there are a couple different people that are in that group that sell them, or you can find them on Amazon.
Yeah, and that's I think Latinos for Trump has their some flags too, right? Or no?
Yeah, or you can go to the Trump website.
Yeah, Trump website. Yeah, because the Cameron County Conservatives group is not actually selling things, right, Brandon? There are other groups that do the selling. I mean, not Brandon. Sorry, I saw your name, Brandon. Josh. The Cameron County Conservatives Facebook page group is not actually selling items. It's being done by other organizations, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So no money goes to the Cameron County Conservatives Facebook group. It is just a social group. That's all it is. Of people just gathering together on Facebook and whatnot. Brandon, yours is at 5 p.m. at 817 South 14th Street in Kingsville. Those of you that are in Kingsville, or those of you that are in Willacy County that want to drive up to Kingsville, just go to the Cerrito checkpoint and want to join them. One of these days, Brandon, we will go to yours. But not this Sunday because we're not doing a show Saturday night. Right, Manny? We're not doing a show Saturday night.
Right.
We are having a day off. Yay. You all get a day off. But Sunday night at 7:30, be here. You're welcome, Claudia, and God bless you. Come on over at 7:30. Don't worry about watching the NFL where they're going to be kneeling and they're going to be doing little unity, Black Lives Matter anthem. I still don't know if we're supposed to do like the whatever with the fist, or I don't even know what our new anthem is. Or don't worry about watching them. Don't give them ratings. Give us the ratings and watch our show, and we're going to have a fun. I think we're going to have some good guests, and keep tabs on our Facebook page. And you'll be able to see who exactly we're going to have on Sunday night. God bless you, Dr. Ray. Be safe.
God
Josh,
bless you, gentlemen.
God bless you all.
I can't believe how fast an hour went by.
It really does go by really quickly. And hopefully I didn't talk too much, because Manny gets mad at me when I talk too much.
No, it was good. I appreciate it.
Very
Well, have a
welcome.
good one. God bless you. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night, everyone.